what I was thinking. Obviously, this book sounds incredible. Hey folks, I'm Allison. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through my TBR going into January 2025. Let's get started. The first book on my TBR is one that I imagine is on a lot of people's TBRs if they haven't read it already, and that is the newest book by Sally Rooney, Intermezzo. Aside from the fact that they are brothers, Peter and Ivan Kovacs seem to have little in common. Peter is a Dublin lawyer in his 30s, successful, competent, and apparently unassailable. But in the wake of their father's death, he's medicating himself to sleep and struggling to manage his relationships with two very different women. His enduring first love, Sylvia, and Naomi, a college student for whom life is one long joke. Ivan is a 22-year-old competitive chess player. He has always seen himself as socially awkward, a loner, the antithesis of his glib elder brother. Now, in the early weeks of his bereavement, Ivan meets Margaret, an older woman emerging from her own turbulent past, and their lives become rapidly and intensely intertwined. For two grieving brothers and the people they love, this is a new interlude, a period of desire, despair, and possibility, a chance to find out how much one life might hold inside itself without breaking. Always an intriguing inside flap from Sally Rooney. After I finish Intermezzo, I may do a video reviewing all of Sally Rooney's books together, even the ones that I didn't love. I have a lot of feelings about them. If that's something you'd be interested in, please let me know in the comments. Safe to say, Intermezzo is at the top of my TBR going into January. The next book that I want to read is When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill. This is not an author that I'm familiar with. I picked this book up randomly in Barnes & Noble, but the description on the back really spoke to me. Charismatic Mary Antoine is the daughter of the richest man in 19th century Montreal. She has everything she wants, except for a best friend. Until clever, scheming Sadie Arnett moves into the neighborhood. Immediately united by their passion and intensity, Marie and Sadie's games soon become tinged with risk, even violence. Forced to separate by the adults around them, the two spend years engaged in acts of alternating innocence and depravity. And when a singular event brings them back together, the dizzying effects will up in the city. Traveling from a repressive finishing school to a vibrant brothel, taking readers firsthand into the brutality of factory life and the opulent lives of Montreal's wealthy, When We Lost Our Heads dazzlingly explores gender, sex, desire, class, and the terrifying power of the human heart when it can't let someone go. So obviously that sounds amazing. I really love books that center on spicy friendships. The Neapolitan novels by Elena Ferrante and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, which I just read in December, are both good examples of this. And I'm really hoping this book will fall into that category. The next book on my TBR is The Lost Bookshelf by Evie Woods. This is a book that came to me through my little free library. It's a great way for me to pass along books when I'm finished reading them and obviously get new infusions of books for me to read myself. As soon as I saw this absolutely stunning cover, I knew it was going straight on the TBR. On a quiet street in Dublin, a lost bookshop is waiting to be found. For too long, Opaline, Martha, and Henry have been the side characters in their own lives. But when a vanishing bookshop casts its spell, these three unsuspecting strangers will discover that their own stories are every bit as extraordinary as the ones found in the pages of their beloved books. By unlocking the secrets of the shelves, they find themselves transported to a world of wonder, where nothing is as it seems. The final books on my TBR are this beautiful duology, Vengeful and Vicious by V.E. Schwab. V.E. Schwab is an amazing writer. She's one of my absolute favorite fantasy authors. I've read A Darker Shade of Magic and those books. I've read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and somehow I've never gotten around to reading these two. Oddly enough, a friend even lent me a copy of Vengeful a few years ago, and it sat on my shelf and I never got around to reading it. For some reason, something about the back cover wasn't speaking to me at that time in my life, but boy, has that changed. Okay, so just taking a minute to get these out of the box. Here we go. The first book in the duology is Vicious. The back says, Victor and Eli started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognized the same sharpness and ambition in each other. In their senior year, a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. Obviously, this book sounds incredible. I won't read you the back of Vengeful, just in case there are any spoilers for what's gonna happen in Vicious. But man, can we talk about how V.E. Schwab always has the most beautiful spine art. Look at that. Look at that. Amazing. And I actually have these too. This is so beautiful. V.E. Schwab has just figured it out. The brand is strong. I'm realizing that my TBR is so dark academia this month. I mean, this one is college students, and this one is a spooky magical bookshop, and this one takes place in some kind of posh boarding school, or at least just starts out in some kind of posh boarding school. But don't worry, I read other stuff too, I promise. I think it's just this time of year when everything is so gray and cold and you just want to be cuddled up inside in a big sweater, drinking tea and not doing anything, the dark academia books really speak to me. In the springtime, just wait and see, it's gonna swing back around. Those are the 5 books on the top of my TBR going into January 2025. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to hear more from me, please consider subscribing. And finally, thank you so much for spending a bit of your one wild and precious life with me watching this video. Goodbye.